Imagine what life could be like. Let's just put it that way. If you could change anything about this world, if you could change anything about your life, what would it be? Start becoming a dreamer. Start thinking like that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine a greater world. If enough of us did that, I think we could produce massive change. Thoughts are real things, ladies and gentlemen. They exist in our mind and outside of it. Let's create a collective thought form of faith that things are going to get better. Because things are either going to get better or they're going to reach a point where the delicate, tipping point is overdone and we're forced to, come back from a cataclysm, if that makes sense. Human beings are so stupid for the most part due to their programming and how thick-skulled they are, that oftentimes on the collective level it requires massive cataclysm for them to wake up and see the rationale in changing. How pitiful. It's because we never use our minds. We're constantly following a narrative that the system pushes on us. Go to work, go to school, do this, go to the doctor often, do that, do this, that, and the other. It's insane. Most of us don't even have a mind that's our own. Ask yourself, how many of your thoughts are actually your own? How many of the thoughts that you have or the belief systems did you actually generate on your own? Because most of you have taken information from the outside world, taken it, and created your views of reality, your views of yourself, your views of your everything based on what you've taken in. The human mind is a sponge at a very young age. In the system, your parents, your relatives, your friends and their families, your preacher, whatever the fuck, expose you to certain energies that went into your mind that was a sponge and filled it. And you took all of those experiences and analyzed them with your five senses and with your mind, ladies and gentlemen, and created belief systems based on what you saw at a very young age and how you viewed the world. Those belief systems, what you were told was impossible, what you were told is the right thing to do, was most likely told to you from someone else, and most likely the information was erroneous garbage that was handed down from them. And there's also a genetic ancestral programming as well that needs to be broken, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but you are handed down certain genetic traits that almost are like habits. It's like a addictive aspect of our ancestry that wants to perpetuate itself, that repeats certain information or hands it down. Hope that makes sense. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but those ancestral ties need to be morphed. They need to be transmuted. They need to be changed. What the hell is going on here, folks? I went to the mall the other day and walked through, and the masses, everyone was looking down at their phone, people with their pants hanging down past their asses, people yelling at each other, people wearing stupid clothing with like ridiculous symbolism on it, looking lost, looking like total weak individuals, completely spiritually lobotomized. And I don't want to get on here and talk like this, ladies and gentlemen. That is not my goal. It's not my desire to wake up and judge people, but my God, I cannot deny the evidence that my own eyes produce, and I am not a fan of all of the evidence that I've collected. It's insane. This is not the type of work that you see on the resume of a supreme being. It's just not. In a state of Christ consciousness, we can elevate our awareness to the point where we can actually interact with trees. Trees can communicate with us, ladies and gentlemen. They can bend their limbs and show us things. They can open up different dimensional wavelengths and portals, but you don't know that. When you drive next to a tree or walk next to a tree, you don't even know what it is. You just pass by it. That's a pretty tree, that's cool. You look at them like they're just these lifeless, inanimate objects for your viewing pleasure. Trees are shamanic. Trees are their own unique intelligence. They take information from above the earth like a nerve and send it down into the soil, where there's an infinite degree of life in the soil that takes the information and weaves it underneath your feet. Underneath the ground, there's a vast labyrinth of different elementals and living life forms that are intelligent. They're aware of human beings. It's just insane how limited we are in our perceptions, and there is a infinite grid of geometric consciousness around us that we can no longer see. There is an infinite layer of energetic fields around us that we can no longer see, ladies and gentlemen. There are elementals, there are non-organic beings, there are so many life forms that are now invisible to us because we only exist, or we're only able to see a small fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum due to our conditioning. So the earth was designed, it's already perfect the way it is. Human beings have come in with religion and belief systems and all this other nonsense, and they've erected a concrete jungle, ladies and gentlemen, and then they've established their schools that are, if my memory is correct, the schools were taken over. The curriculum was pretty much molded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Ford Foundation, and they perpetuated their curriculum, and the curriculum is garbage. So they've erected their matrix. They've put in these schools, these mind control schools, ladies and gentlemen, that teach you nothing about how to breathe. They don't teach you about your... It's insane. I don't really want to get into it, but essentially they don't teach you that you have a Merkaba. They don't teach you that you have the ability to attain godhood. They don't teach you that you have the ability to be who you were designed to be, which is a demigod, where you have the spirit, the Holy Ghost moving through you, the kundalini. They don't teach you that. They cripple you with math and fake history and a bunch of other nonsense, and they give you a warped view of the world, and they make you think that you're so important, and they even start programming you with the bad foods in the schools, ladies and gentlemen. They do. Don't believe me? Go walk through a school, a cafeteria. It's all garbage. And yeah, it tasted good. I used to love cafeteria food. I used to love junk. We've got to wake up. With the kundalini activated on a collective level, we could take this earth and turn it into a beautiful gem. A beautiful gem. Where think about how beautiful the idea of Atlantis is. Like these amazing cities that used sacred geometric principles in their architecture, who used crystal technology, who used Tesla technology, things similar to Tesla technology. And I'm talking about Nikola Tesla, not the Tesla company that's out right now who wants to put a brain implant in your head. You don't believe me? Look up Neuralink. It's a very real thing. I'm not talking about Elon Musk's company. I'm talking about Tesla technology, original Tesla technology, free energy. And I'm not saying that there aren't improvements to be made on that either, but come on, guys. This is ridiculous. Do you want to work your whole life and never have a creative experience in your entire world? Do you want to leave this world after you've worked your whole life and never done anything spiritually fulfilling? Is that what you want to do? You have the ability to elevate your consciousness. You have the ability to retrain your mind. You have the ability, ladies and gentlemen, to go back and delete all of the bullshit programs that the Matrix has helped install in your system, and you can rebuild, rewire, and reattain something much better than where you currently are now. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You have the ability to consume herbs now in 2020 that were reserved only for royalty not that long ago. You have the ability to do anything and everything you want, but you live up here. You live in a prison of your mind. You live in a prison of your consciousness, and most of you are not even aware of it because you're unaware that you're unaware of being unaware. Dr. Robert Kassar said that one time, and I remember it just totally resonated with me. The masses are unaware of being unaware of being unaware. Think about that for a minute. The masses are unaware that they're unaware of being unaware. You have taken what was given to you and what you've taken the information. Most Americans have taken the information that they were exposed to at a young age, personalized it, created their own unique outlook on life, and they just went with it. They never questioned it. They never questioned that, the idea that you can't live past 200 or you can't live past 120. They never question it. I just believe it. Anytime you believe something, you instruct the subconscious mind to create that as a reality. So many of the things that you experience as in your life are directly related to your beliefs. because you're literally creating that reality, and it's much more complicated than that psychologically, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. You got to retrain your mind. You got to teach your body to relax. That's why on my Patreon page I talk about the full body relaxation. Ladies and gentlemen, using your mind in a ritualized setting, and preferably your own little personal temple where you can light candles and expose yourself to certain symbolism. You lay on the floor, preferably on a hard surface, not a bed. You can't relax as well on a soft surface. That's just the truth. You lay down on a hardwood floor preferably, and you start relaxing your muscle groups by visualizing them. I talk about exactly how to do this on my Patreon page. There are times where I'll do that for an hour and a half at a time, and by the time I'm done, it's like I am so calm, and I've reduced so much stress that, I mean, stress is what's killing you, ladies and gentlemen. Stress is the real enemy here, because stress, as I mentioned earlier, not just emotional and physical stress, but environmental stress. When you're chronically exposed to this stuff, you start burning up your magnesium through something that Morley Robbins calls the magnesium burn rate. You start chewing up your B vitamins as well. And if my memory serves me well, when you have chronic stress, you start to produce a protein, I think in your liver, called metallothionein. Don't take my word for it, I may be wrong, which binds to, I think, copper or zinc. I'm kind of rusty on that right now. It's been a while since I've researched that stuff. But what I'm getting at right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that you start burning up when you're stressed, when you're constantly fretting, when you're constantly exposed to toxins, when you eat bad food. You stress your body, your mind, your soul, you name it, and you burn your mineral reserves. You burn your micronutrient reserves, which are the basic, most fundamental building blocks of what keeps you and your cells alive, ladies and gentlemen. Inside each of your cells, and it's said that there may be over 100 trillion of them, you have a vast ecosystem just in one of your cells, and you have millions of these. Inside each of your cells, you have a cell wall, you have cytoplasm, cellular fluid, organelles, ladies and gentlemen, which just means little organs. You have genetic information, and it's amazing just to study the single cell. It's like its own solar system. These most subatomic, smallest building blocks of yourself are what require these micronutrients, or what require nutrition. You're starving your life support system, which are your cells, your mineral reserves, ladies and gentlemen. Stress destroys your life. Some stress is beneficial because it can help you say, fuck that, I don't want to do this. This is causing too much stress. I got to do something else. I'm not saying that stress is a motivating force, but the type of stress that we as Americans harbor is ridiculous, because it's all bullshit that should just be deleted out of our minds. We've accepted the narrative that was pushed on us at a very young age, and now we're grinding gears. We've depleted ourselves. Most Americans don't eat anywhere near enough fruits, vegetables, micronutrients, protein, fats, you name it. And when they do, even if you do eat sufficient amounts of these, due to the fact that how they're raised or grown, they're deficient in minerals. Even if you eat massive amounts of chocolate and dark leafy greens, you will still be deficient in magnesium. It is my opinion that 99% of the population is magnesium deficient. And again, when you're stressed, you burn magnesium. When you burn magnesium regulates a massive amount of your enzymes, your enzymatic functions. There are over 1,400 functions that magnesium regulates. Why do I say it? Because it's one of the first minerals to go during environmental and emotional stress and all this other nonsense. Why I focus heavily on magnesium supplementation. And that's not just one. What about selenium? What about silica? Silica is a fascinating constituent. So, honey products are very good, ladies and gentlemen, as well. It's a very good way to get a lot of good nutrition in your system. I'm going to talk more about that in the future. People keep asking me, why do you eat honey products, this, that, and the other? I'm going to make a video discussing that entirely here in the near future. Nutrition is huge. Clean water is huge. Grounding is huge. I'm even going to talk about a particular method, probably on my Patreon page, where you dig in specific locations on the earth, a giant hole, and you go and lay in it, while doing specific visualizations to re-enliven your meridians, re-enliven your genetics to the Earth's electromagnetic currents. I'm going to talk about that in the near future. There are so many different ways that you can be creative to initiate your own healing. We don't have any imagination anymore.